record. Okay, so I'm recording. Like I mentioned a few minutes ago before we officially got started, is we are done Unit 1. So I'm going to get into Unit 2 now. I have a couple things, and I'm recording this just in case people aren't here. We will have an assignment on Unit 1. It's online. It will be multiple choice, very simple assignment that I should have up today or at earliest tomorrow morning. I'm going to finish it today. The assignment will only be on Unit 1. It is done online. You will have, until Thursday to do it. So you have multiple days. You don't have to rush. There's no time limit on the assignment. If anybody, like you guys are maths or 1730, so you've done online before, it'll be very easy, and I'll have that done for today. There'll just be maybe 5 or 6 questions, all multiple choice, based on questions from Unit 1. So basically, you're going to have 5 or 6 unit conversion type questions, very straightforward, and that'll be made today or tomorrow morning, and it will be due by probably Thursday or at midnight, something like that. Very easy. So just to kind of let's put a little pin in Chapter 1. Let's finish it off, or Unit 1, and get into Unit 2 today, which I kind of talked about a few minutes or last class. But I want to do some extra problems from Unit 1 just to see how we're feeling about these word problems. Abdullah asked a really good question in the chat. Is the assignment worth 5%? Yes. So these assignments aren't worth like 1%. They're worth a pretty big chunk of your course, a big percentage at 5%. But Abdullah and everybody in the class, these will be very, very straightforward, easy assignments. I just encourage you to take your time. I'm not going to make a time limit. So, before you hit submit, be comfortable, because if there's only 5 or 6 questions and you get one wrong, like let's say there's 6 questions and you get a 5 out of 6, that brings you already down to an 83% of that assignment. So be very, very careful. Use your notes, just be careful. It'll be nice and easy. But for my chemistry people, it'll be a lot easier than some of the stuff you had in chemistry for sure. Although we didn't really have assignments in chemistry, you guys had labs, but it'll be easy. Okay, so I was just thinking, we're doing good for time. I was thinking we might together do questions 13 and 14 at the end of Chapter 1, just for a little warm up for today. Now, 14 is actually pretty easy. When I did 13, or when I looked at 13, there's actually a lot of steps to this if we follow our notes, meaning if we follow the conversion factors in our notes. I promise you guys, all of these conversion factors, 1 pound is 454 grams. 16 ounces is equal to 1 pound. Everything will be given on the assignment and test. So you don't need to memorize any of the things I'm about to show you. Okay, so here we go. I'm almost tempted to do 14 first because it's so easy, but let's start at 13. 13 is going to look crazy, but it is pretty easy. So first things first, with a question like 13, we need to organize ourselves. So let's read the question and come up with a plan. If each vitamin C tablet, so that's for my chemistry people, that's ascorbic acid. For each vitamin C tablet, or if each tablet is made from 227 milligrams of vitamin C powder, how many tablets can we make if we have 15 ounces of vitamin C? This is actually a very similar question to anything you would have done in chemistry. We have a recipe. There's no equation here. Don't worry, there's no chemical equations in this course. But we have a little recipe, and I want to find out, if I had 15 ounces of vitamin C, how many tablets could I make? So first things first, let's think of some conversions. We have milligrams, and we're trying to convert it around ounces. So I'm just going to make a couple notes here. We might need this, we might not, but I know that 1 pound is 16 ounces. This is, of course, like, again, these numbers will be provided. You don't have to memorize this. I also know that I also know that 1 pound is equal to 454 grams. So, I mean, right away, I'm making a link between grams and ounces in some way. The only problem is we have milligrams. So I'm going to write one more thing. 1,000 milligrams is equal to a gram. All right. I think we're ready to get started. So, oh no, I'm not ready. Also, from the question, I know that 1 tablet is equal to 225 milligrams. Okay, so here we go. I have 15 ounces of vitamin C available. I need to turn this into milligrams. I know that every tablet is 225 milligrams. So my real question here is, how many milligrams is this? Right? That's really what I need to know. If I can figure out how many milligrams are in 15 ounces, I'm more than halfway done this question. Now, in a real life situation, you could go to Google and say, like, type in on Google. Am I sharing my screen, by the way? I hope so. Yes. Okay. How many milligrams? You could type this into Google. How many milligrams are in 15 ounces? Or you could say 15 ounces into milligrams, and Google will probably do this for you. The problem is we don't have Google on a test. So we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. So first things first, I know how to get pounds into grams. So let's change this into pounds. Okay, so there go my ounces. Let's change my pounds into grams. Oops. Okay, and then let's change the grams into milligrams. So, I mean, we're halfway, we're more than halfway. The only thing now is I want to figure out how many tablets can I get from this answer. So I'm going to multiply it by my tablets. This is a hard one, by the way, guys. This is not your normal question. There's a lot going on here, but that's it, right? I say that's it. Look at that. That looks really crazy. So guys, you can break this question into 2 parts. Find your milligrams in 15 ounces, and then do the tablet conversion. How many tablets can I make from these milligrams? So find milligrams, answer the question. How many tablets can I get? Let me check the chat before I move on. Oh, thank you for that. Somebody just made a correction in the notes. And I know your name was there, but I read it so quick. This is 227. Why did I say 225? I don't know. Anyways, I just taught Math 1700 for an hour and a half straight with no break. So my brain is a little bit mushy, but thank you, Loa, for the correction. So I put all of this in. Okay, so 15 divided by 16 times 454 times 1,000 divided by 227, and you'll get your answer, 1,875 tablets. Crazy question. Good question for practice. Definitely a good one. Now, again, like I mentioned, an easy way to approach this, and you can, like, on your assignment, guys, you can do whatever. I don't care. You can use everything, Google, whatever you want. There's apps on your phone that can do these conversions. The only thing I'll warn you about is on your test, you're not going to be able to use these apps. So be very careful. But let's just see if Google does this. 15 ounces. Oops. Why is it doing that? OZ 2 milligrams. Let's see. Oh, beautiful. So Google And it sounds like I'm a spokesperson for Google. I promise you I'm not. Google basically tells me how many milligrams are there. Notice, or you might notice that your answer on Google might be a unit or a number or two off of what we did. We're rounding some of our numbers here, but this is close enough. Cool, pretty cool. I love Google. Okay, so a couple questions here. I have one private message and then one public message. Lola, you might have came in a little late, but I mentioned that the assignment I'm going to finish today. So the assignment will be on Unit 1. And so it'll be on this stuff, and I'll have that released either tonight, I'm going to work on it this afternoon, or tomorrow morning at the latest. And the assignment is on Unit 1, and you'll have a few days to do it. It will be 5 or 6 multiple choice questions, very straightforward. The private message I have says, where did I get 160? Where did I get, or maybe you mean 16. I think you might mean 16. Where did I get 454? That's a good question, which I mentioned earlier. Let me go back to my notes. These questions are above in the notes. These are my imperial to metric conversions. These are constants. These are given on a test. These are in your notes. These are, I know they're not part of the question because they're just conversions. 1 pound is 16 ounces. 1 pound is 454 grams. These are I'm calling them conversion factors. They are constants. It's like, changing from calories to joules. Maybe that's not an easy example. They're like pi, they're like gravity, they're constants. They will be given to you on a test. Okay, you don't have to memorize anything. Anything above this line, you don't have to memorize. All right, one more. This one's easier. 14 is a nice, easy one to kind of finish this off. And then I am going to start chapter 2 today, or unit 2, whatever, same thing. An IV bag. Let me read the chat first. I got another private message. I am going to read this one out. Can I share an app that solves these questions? I can share, maybe. I'm a bit of a nerd. I don't use an app. Haha. No. There's probably an app that does unit conversions. Let me just see. Yeah. Now I can't vouch for any of these because I don't have them. But this one does look good. Ooh. So now, guys, I use an Android. I've never used an Apple phone, so I can't speak to the Apple Store, but I know on Google Play, and I'll just show you my phone here. Let me get my camera going. Don't mind my hair. Don't mind my face. I just haven't really done anything to get myself ready for today, but this is a pretty good one, I think. So what I did is I went to the Play Store. Again, I use Google. I have an Android phone, and I typed in unit conversion. You guys probably can't see this anyways, but there's a game there. But the first one, hold on, my thumb hit something. The first one looks to me to be pretty good. It's called Unit Converter. I know you guys probably can't read that, but I just went to the the Play Store. I typed in unit conversion, and it gives me a unit converter app. You can try that. I will, this is on YouTube, so my math teacher, other math people are probably like losing their minds. Like, what are you doing? Use the app in real life, but when you're practicing for your test, make sure you know how to do this. There's no apps in your test. All right, but it's always nice to have a good app. When I was in school, I didn't have an app. Sadly, I'm old enough to be I predate apps when I was in university, but I had a program called Mathematica or Maple Math. And Maple Math and Mathematica were really good programs to help me with my problems, but I didn't learn a lot, but it helped me with, you know, big projects and things. But anyways, let's move on to number 14. No problem for that app. I have not used or downloaded that app, so I don't know how good it is. For me, I like Google. Google, if you type stuff into Google, it gives you the conversion. Anyways, number 14. This is an easy one. An IV bag contains 500 mil. Sorry, an IV bag contains 500 milliliters of saline solution. So, you know, salt water solution. The bag delivers 25 pints of saline every 45 minutes. I'm sorry, 0.25 pints, so a quarter of a pint, every 45 minutes. This is a cool question. How long will the solution last? And you know, I know you guys are pharmacy technicians, you probably won't be dealing with IV bags in the hospital, but think about this. You have a patient who's on saline solution. You've given them half of a liter of saline. The bag is going to deliver 0.25 pints of this every 45 minutes. So how long can you wait until you can replace the bag, or until you should replace the bag? If you were a nurse or something, this would be really important, right? You need to know how long your medication will last, because you need to refill it or, you know, get a new bag. So this is a pretty cool question. Yes.
Sir, do you share your screen?
Yes, it's not shared. Can you see my screen? You guys should be able to see this question, I hope.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Abdullah, for reminding me in the chat and as well. Okay, sorry about that. So an IV bag, 500 milliliters of saline. We got 20.25 pints of saline every 45. How long will it last? It looks hard. This is quite an easy question. First things first, like milliliters and pints, they're not compatible units. I need to convert to figure out how many pints do I have. So I have 500 milliliters. My question is, how many pints is it? And the reason we're probably using pints here is because people, I know you watch American doctor shows like House or General, I don't know, that's probably a show that's too old for you, but House, I know House is a show that's on like some streaming services. They might say, oh, the patient has lost 5 pints of blood or 2 pints of blood. American hospitals typically use pints a lot. To answer, there was a lady's question or somebody's question earlier. To answer where I'm getting all this, it's at the beginning of this section, right? Somebody asked, you know, where did some of these numbers come from? It's from here. And there's more above. So these are numbers you should, or you will be given. I know that 1 pint is 473 milliliters. So let's write that down. 1 pint is 473 milliliters. I mean, that's really it. The question gives me a little bit more information. I also know that 0.5 pints, PT is the abbreviation for pint. I know that this will last 45 minutes. Or 45 is delivered every, sorry, 0.25 is delivered every 45 minutes. So step number 1, let's convert 500 milliliters into pints. So multiplied by 1 pint over 473 milliliters. Cross them out. Now, the next thing I need to figure out, how much time will this take? Well, I know every 45 minutes, I'm going to go through 0.25 pints. My pints cancel. I am done. And my answer is about 190 minutes. The question says round to the nearest minute, so 190 minutes. So that means, what's that? 60, 120. So it's about 3 hours and 20 minutes or so. You guys can, or this person, the doctor, the nurse, the whatever, they can have this bag going for about 3 hours. And after 3 hours, 20 minutes, 3 hours, 15 minutes or so, you're going to have to replace it. I find this really, like, coming from a chemistry course, like, again, half of you guys were with me last semester or the semester before, where a lot of the questions in chemistry didn't mean anything, like you'd never use them. This is, to me, like, pretty interesting. um, this is something somebody would consider when they have a patient. Anyways, I like it. These are pretty challenging questions, but this is about as hard as chapter 1 gets. Whew. Okay, that took me a little longer than I had hoped, but that's fine. We have lots of time. So let's get into unit 2. Now, 2 things, and I only want to say this once today, or one more time today. So everybody listen. Your first test, which will be before Eid, will be on chapters 1 and 2. Your first assignment will be on chapter 1. Oops, I'm sorry about that noise there, guys. Got an email. So you will get an assignment today, maybe tomorrow morning at the latest. I'll give you a few days to do it. It will be on chapter or unit 1. Your first test will be on units 1 and 2. Okay, your test, I don't know the date yet, but we'll talk more about your test maybe later this week. It will be on units 1 and 2. And don't ask me when it is exactly. I don't know yet. Okay. So all you guys need to worry about, don't worry about your test yet. Don't even think about your test. Just kind of think about that assignment that I'm going to put out today or tomorrow morning on chapter 1. All right, unit 2. Just give me a little bit of time. We don't need the full time today. What time is it now? It's 1 o'clock. We technically finish at 2. We won't need that long. Let's talk about ratios. Now, you'll notice I have a pretty easy example here. Apples and oranges, classic example. The term ratio in math, it basically explains a relationship or comparison. So, if we were in a real class, I guess I could do this now. I could look at the class list. We could make a ratio of male students to female students. We can make a ratio of students at home or students at campus, although I guess you're all home now, probably. Most of you are probably home now, unless you have a lab today. So, it's comparing 2 things. So in this example, I'm comparing apples to oranges. Very classic example. You can represent ratios in 3 ways. I could represent them as words. So I could say I have, whoa, whew, that scared me. Somebody's microphone, do you have a question? No? Oh man, that scared me. I made a dumb mistake right before bed last night. I put on a scary movie, and I love horror movies, but now I'm a little jumpy, so that scared me. Anyways, 3 oranges to 5 apples, right? This is, you guys, honestly, you might not remember this, but your math teacher would have showed you this when you were very young, and you might not even remember this, but when you were probably 8 or 9, maybe even younger, your teacher would get you to count things and compare them. Could be like boys to girls in class, apples to oranges, square blocks to triangular prism, blocks. Like, you've been doing this before. You can probably remember doing math, maybe. But we're going to make this a little bit more complicated. So the English, the verbal way would be say, well, I have, for every 3 oranges, I have 5 apples. I have 3 oranges to 5 apples. Another way to write this is using a colon. Okay, that's called a colon. You might learn that from communications. 3 oranges. The colon means 2. 5 apples. Okay, that's like the official way people show ratios. So in math, my favorite way is to write them as a fraction. 3 oranges over 5 apples, right? You like in math, you could say 3x. Oh, sorry. I don't know why my text is jumping around, by the way. I'll see if I can fix that. 3x over 5y, you would probably see this in math. That's a ratio. For every 3 x's, we have 5 y's. X's could be boys, y's could be girls. Like that's, I guess, biologically, that would be the backwards one. X's could be apples, X's could be Land Cruisers to Nissan Sunnies. I mean, it can be anything. So an interesting thing about ratios is they can be multiplied or divided and still mean the same thing. So I get choice. I can pick my own number. What number do I want to pick? Well, let's try 2. Let's keep it to 2. So 3 to 5 is the exact same as 3 times, whoops. 3 times 2 and 5 times 2, which is 6 to 10. Same thing. Let me zoom out a bit. I think sometimes when I zoom in, my text jumps around. So ratios can be made bigger by multiplying, or they can also be reduced. This is big. Part of this unit is part of math in general. And you guys might remember this from 1700, or if you've done another math course or two, your math instructor wants you to reduce fractions. So this is the big one. You can also divide ratios. The key for dividing ratios is that you divide them by the same number, and the same thing goes for multiplied. It has to be the same number. Oh, so Loa asked, Asma, I think you just helped me out. So Loa in the chat says, why did I multiply it by 2? This is just an example. I picked 2 just for fun. I could have picked 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I could have picked any number. This is just an example, okay? So don't worry about why I picked 2. For the second one, the division, Asma really helped me out. I was going to pick 3, right? Like 3 works. Let's just do 3 for 1 second. So 3 and 3. So I could do this by 3 and 3. 27 divided by 3 is 9. 45 divided by 3 is 15. Nothing wrong with that. But as Asma says, I hope I'm saying your name right. I know I've had you before, but sometimes I'm bad with names. We could also do 9, and 9 would be beautiful because 9 would reduce this as much as possible. So I would get 3 to the power, or 3 to the power. Wow, I'm thinking about math 1700. 3 to the 5. There is no right or wrong answer here. You could also use decimals. I mean, I could divide both of these by 2.1. It doesn't matter. All I'm telling you is that you can multiply a ratio by any number. You can divide a ratio by any number. As long as you do it to both numbers, the ratio has the same relationship. It has to be the same number. Scrolling down. This is so funny. Sorry, I just want to see something. Dividing by common. I'm talking to myself now. Okay, the next section, simplifying ratios, is going to be the most important thing. And you guys already, you've been doing this even before you can remember, but let's look at these examples. All right. Oh, sorry, let me change something. View to page, scrolling. Here we go. All right. So Easy, easy, easy. Let's do this quick. This is really quick. In a math class, there are 8 males and 6 females. What's the ratio of, and this is important, we're going to write males first to females. So it would be 8 to 6. You could write 8/6 as well. Like this is kind of the verbal way, like the simple way to represent a ratio. And when we start talking about like math, we'll probably use fractions. What is the ratio of females to males? Well, that would be reversed, 6 to 8 or 6/8. I'm going to ask you guys a sneaky question in a minute. Judy, sorry, I said your name. There's a private message there from Judy, but it's a good message, so I'll say it out loud. Judy and Asma are saying the same. Oh no, sorry, I'm reading ahead. Judy is saying divide by 2. We could divide by 2 to reduce this, but that's the next section. We're going to do reducing in like 3 minutes. So you're kind of skipping ahead. But I want to see who's awake here today. What is the ratio? And guys, if you're going to do this in the chat, you can just use the colon. What is the ratio of female students? And I think some of you might know what I'm going to ask here, to all students. Let me know in the chat. What is the ratio of female students to all students? Yep. All right, excellent. I mean, that's easy. And I hope you guys find this easy. This is a good course. I gotta say, I haven't taught this course in a while, and it keeps reminding me how much I love this course. I think you guys are gonna have a good intercession. Well, at least in math anyways. So as Asma, Reem, Zarina, Abdullah, Lawa, everybody's saying the same thing. Aisha, Lorena, everybody's saying the same thing, which is perfect. There are 6 female students and there's 14 students total. If anybody's wondering where did the 14 come from, it's just 6 plus 8. Cool. It'd be interesting to know the ratio at the college. You know, when I first came to the college 8 years ago, there were, I think, way more male students because the engineering and some of the business were full of men. But now medical science has typically been strong female presence. But now medical science is changing. Medical science is male, female, engineering, a lot more females signing up. It's the we would call it in sociological terms, I don't know, but the demographic of the college is becoming more equal, I guess. You're getting a lot of males and females doing programs that were different 8 years ago, which is really cool. I think like 8 years ago, if you were going to be in medical science, Hamad sent you. And if you were going to be in engineering, like Qatar Petroleum sent you. But now people are signing up from everything, which is really cool. All right, guys. I mean, number 2, rectangles to circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 rectangles to 4 circles. Done. Easy. Moving on. Example 3. Why don't you guys try this? And then we'll move on to the next section. I'll give you 3 minutes. This is pretty easy. Give this a try. This is the easiest question ever, and I'll be back in 3 minutes. And thank you, Nikki and Anud and Lorena and Aisha and everybody who helped me with that last question. Okay, take 3 minutes, try this. I'll be right back. If you're done, some of you guys could do this in 1 minute. If you're done, just relax. Whoa, okay. Keep going, guys. Keep working. I'm getting so many answers. I think I came back to 22 messages. Keep going. I get a lot of E's now. I'll just let you guys take 30 seconds, finish this up, and then I'll go through the answers. 30 seconds. All right, let's look at this. So, pretty easy question, but this would be something you could see on your test. Like your test isn't going to be crazy. So a car rental company has, actually, I like this for one reason. The car rental company, or the question is telling me how many cars I have in total, which is, great. So this car rental company has 15 Toyota, 10 Honda, and the rest are Nissan, however you say it. There is going to be a calculation I'm going to need to do here because I don't know how many Nissan cars there are. Not yet, but I can figure it out. So the first thing, Toyota to Honda, 15 to 10. Now, guys, if any of you, I'm sorry about that noise. If any of you reduce this to be like 3 to 2, that's fine. But this question doesn't ask you to reduce it. We're going to look at reducing it in a minute. So I'm going to write the big numbers, but if you did reduce it, perfect. Okay, we're going to do this later. And when I say later, I mean in like 2 minutes. Okay. Nissan cars to Honda. I got a problem because I don't know how many Nissans there are, but I know I have 33 cars. So if I take away the 25 other cars, right? I have 15 Toyota, 10 Honda. If I take them away, I'm taking away 25 cars. I know I'm left with 8 Nissan. So the answer would be 8 to 10. Which of course you could reduce this to be 4 to 5, but 8 and 10 is fine. Sorry, let me just check the chat. Oh, okay. I got a private message here. What would this be worth on the test? Probably, well, if you had all of this, it would probably be worth like 2.5 marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'd be worth about 0.5 marks each. It wouldn't be worth a whole lot, let's be honest, but it would be, it would be worth it knowing. Don't worry about that yet. We'll talk about marks and tests and stuff later. Okay, what is the ratio of Toyota to Nissan? So this would be 15 to 8. Can't really reduce that. Nissan, we haven't really done one like this. It's Nissan to Honda to Toyota. So like just think of taking this English sentence and breaking it into math. I would say, okay, there's 8 Nissans to the Hondas, which is 10, to the Toyotas, which is 15. This cannot be easily represented as a fraction. Okay, so when I have 3 numbers like this, I can't really use a fraction. And finally, Toyota to the total numbers, 15 to 33. Easy, nothing to it, no problem. All right, cool. Moving on. I'll do this topic, and that might bring us to the end. Proportions. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's look at the next part. Simplifying ratios. Now, this is very, very, very important. Any math instructor we typically want you to write ratios as small as possible. Okay, it's called simplified form. Math people love it. So for my chemistry physics people, think about like rounding to the nearest significant figure. In chemistry and math, we want significant figures. Sorry, chemistry and physics. In math, we want simplified ratios, simplified fractions. The good news is your calculator does this for you. I can actually, ooh, do I want to show you? I guess I will show you. Your calculator can actually simplify ratios in like 4 buttons. It's so simple, maybe even like it's so simple. But let's go through the theory first, and then I'm going to show you the calculator, and then we'll practice. We'll check the time. So question or part number 1. One way to simplify a ratio is to divide each number by a number they have in common. Remember, you have to divide by the same number. Oops, I'm old. To me, a hashtag means a number. So if you ever see me write hashtag, I don't mean like social media, I mean like a number. So 24 to 40, I want to reduce it. I want to make it smaller. Well, I know that 4 or 2 or 6 go into these numbers. You can do trial and error. Like these are both even numbers. Any even number, you know a 2 goes into. Remember what an even number is. An even number would end in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. So I know that 2, 4, 6 would go into these numbers. So I could divide this by 4 and I would get 6 and 10. But like, what do you notice about 6 and 10? 6 and 10 I can still make smaller. So I can divide them both by 2 and get my answer 3 and 5. This is how I actually do it. When I'm reducing large ratios or fractions, you can do this as a fraction as well. When I'm reducing large ratios, I typically do this method. I'll start with like a 2 or a 3, and then I'll keep going until I cannot reduce anymore. The only number now that we can divide by is 1. When you get to that part where the only common term is 1, halas, finished. You can't go any further. Now, for my more, some of you guys are probably better at doing math in your head than I am. I was never strong on doing math in my head. You can also do this in one step. If you can see it and you can find the greatest common factor, I'll explain what that is in a second. If you can identify the GCF or greatest common factor, you can just divide in 1 second. Now, what do I mean? Well, the greatest common factor, GCF, is the largest number, the greatest number that how do I word this properly? I want to say it's the largest number that each number can be divided by. So it's the largest number that is a factor of your numbers. So I'll just say the largest number that your numbers, sorry, this is a bad definition, are divisible by. Sorry, that I hope that makes sense. The greatest common factor is the biggest number that is a multiple of your 2 numbers or 3 numbers. It's the biggest number that you can divide each number by, basically. Okay, so the biggest number here. Well, look at the example above, 8. Where do you think that 8 came from? 4 and 2. If I can divide these numbers by 4 and 2, then I can certainly divide them by 4 times 2, which is 8. Okay, do you guys want to see how to do this without even turning your brain on? Which I shouldn't be recording this because all the math instructors in the world will get mad at me, but I'm going to show you. Most of you guys know this anyways, but I'm going to turn my camera on. I'm going to show you my lovely calculator. It's a bit dark in here, but anyways, don't mind my hair. One way to do this is to just put this in on your calculator as a fraction. So on my calculator, I'm just going to put in, if you don't look at my face for 1 second, look at the screen. I'm going to put in 24 divided by 40. So I can use my fraction button, which is right here by my finger, or I can use the divide button right there by my finger. Okay, so if I go on and if you guys have a calculator, it won't work on this. There are ways to make it work on this, but it's a lot more complicated. So if you have one of these, get one of these. Borrow one, you can, get one from a friend, but I'm just going to put in 24 divided by 40. See that? 24 divided by 40. Hit equals. And look at what it gives me. 3/5. Beautiful. If I want to turn that into a decimal, which you guys will need to do later, you hit the SD button. SD will turn a fraction into a decimal. So 0.6. 0.6 is not a ratio. 3/5. See that? Isn't that cool? So I love this. I love this calculator. Mwah. I wish I had it when I was in school. I did not. So, well, sorry, let me put my video on. When I was in school, I had this, which is fantastic because it graphs. You can make graphs, but in order to do fractions or GCF, there's buttons you have to get into. Not as user-friendly, we'll say. All right, so let's practice. I'm going to, I'll do it the old school way. So 12 circles to 26 squares. What's a number that goes into both of those? I don't think 4 does, but 2 certainly does. Let's try 2. So I'm going to divide both of these by 2. Sorry, that wasn't right. I got to put it here. And I'll end up getting 6 to 13. You can do that on your calculator. 15 shirts to 40 blouses. Well, I think 5 is a good number here. So that would be 3 to 8, right? This is pretty simple. This one's a little harder. 160 to 140 to 100. Obviously, 10 is going to work here. There's going to be a better number than 10, I think. Maybe 20. But imagine I don't know that. So let's try 10. So I get 16 to 14 to 10. I can do this again. Let's try 2. 8, 7, 5. I am done. I cannot do anything else with that. Now, I don't know how to do this on your calculator. I'm not saying there isn't a way. The calculator I used to use had a nice ratio button, but I don't see one here. Oh, yes, I do. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'm just going to try something. Whoops. Hold up. I'm sorry. I noticed something on my calculator I'm going to try. And there's some messages in the chat, obviously. Okay, no, that didn't work. Okay, never mind. Forget that. So couple things. So Loa mentioned 6. If you were talking about this question, I don't think 6 would work. Asthma mentions by 2, and if we cut the zeros, exactly. Oh, Loa said 6 for A. Nope, 6 wouldn't work for A. Loa, if you tried to divide 26 by 6, it's not going to work. It's going to give you a fraction, so 6 wouldn't work. And I know 6 doesn't work because there's no number after, like there's no factor that goes into 6 and 13 other than 1. Sorry about that noise. Asthma has a really good method for solving C, because Asthma was like, why don't we cut the zeros, which is dividing by 10, and then why don't we divide by 2? Perfect. By the way, the greatest common factor for this is 20. So I could just divide them both by 20, but like my brain doesn't work that way. My brain does it in pieces. Start with an easy number. Try 2, try 3, try 5. 2, 3, and 5 are really good numbers to try. If 2, 3, and 5 don't work, try 6 or 7. Well, don't try 6. Try 7. Try not. Well, yeah, that's it. So, a good way to get started on this, try 2, try 3, try 5, try 7. One of those numbers has to work. I don't know. Abdullah asks, how do we put C in the calculator? I don't know. There must be a way. Like, I know that I can, but I'm not familiar with this calculator. I'll come back to you on that. I don't want to waste your time trying to figure out my calculator, but there must be a way to do C on this Casio, but I'll come back to that. So for Abdullah, who asked how to do this on the calculator, it's a mystery, and I'm going to look this up. Probably, tonight I'll have a little look at this. There got to be a way. The only problem is, guys, I spent probably 15 years of my life on this, and when I came to the college, they gave me this. So, and then in chemistry, we don't do ratios, so not really. Not like this. All right. Don't mind the noise there, guys. So why don't... Oh, example number 4 is different. Oh, this is a new topic. Okay, so let me do this next topic, and then I'm going to ask you guys to practice, and then halas, we're done. Take maybe 15 minutes or so. So, sorry, there is another topic here. How can we figure out if 2 ratios are equal? You can figure out if 2 ratios are equal if they have the same simplified form. So all these examples are asking you to do is take 2 of these ratios, simplify them, and if they are equal, if the numbers are the same, the ratios are equal. Okay, and again, I don't know a way to do this in your calculator, but I certainly know how to reduce these in my calculator. So this example, this ratio 3 to 4, nothing I can do. I cannot simplify this ratio at all. Think of the number 3, think of the number 4. The only thing that goes into both of those is a 1. A 2 doesn't work, a 3 doesn't work. 6 and 8, though, I can do some work with. By the way, you guys can write these as fractions. Okay, you don't need to do the ratio format. But I can totally reduce 6 and 8. I can divide both of these by 2. Right? So I would get 3 to 4. You could write this as 3 over 4, whatever you want, but they are certainly the same. Check, check. The ratios 3 and 4 is the same as the ratio 6 to 8. It's just been reduced. Easy. All right. Example number 4, and then I'm going to ask, I shouldn't say make, I'm going to ask you guys to practice. All right. Are these the same? I'm going to straight up and say no. There's no way. How did I know that? Well, how on earth are you going to turn this into a 7 to 1? You can't. Like, it's not possible. So first things first, 7 and 1, or you could write it as 7 over 1. It doesn't matter. That's reduced. What about 4 and 81? What's a number that goes into 4 and 81? Nothing. There's no common factor between this. Now, I'm going to put my camera on again, guys. Like, my brain is not like, I can't do math like this, not like when I was 20 years old. So I'm trying to think, what's a number maybe that might go into 4 and 1? You could try 2, 3, 4, The only number really is going to be a 2. After 2, nothing else is going to go into a 4, like a 2 or a 4. That's it. I know 3 doesn't work. Other thing I'll mention, you're hearing me say go into, right? What do I mean by go into? I mean it divides evenly. So like 4 divided by 2 is 2. That means that it goes into it. If I tried 4 divided by 3, it doesn't work. I get a fraction or I get a decimal. So when you're hearing me say go into, I mean like it's a multiple. It divides nicely. So 4 and 81, guys, can't do anything with it. Watch. 4 divided by 81, nothing I can do. It is simplified. That's it. I'm done. Halas. They are not equal. No, these are not equal ratios. Again, if the numbers reduce to be the same, perfect. All right, 6 to 8. Definitely divide that by 2. Okay, let's try 12 to 16. Now, 12 to 16, I'm going to divide this by 4. And I would get 3 and 4. They are equal. So 6 to 8 is the same ratio as 3 to 4. Last thing, well, let me read the chat first. Yep, Asma, perfect. 3 to 4 is equal to 3 to 4. Perfect. One thing, order matters. So 1 to 7 is not equal to 7 to 1. So if you reduced fractions, like say I had 2 and 5, and I wanted you to compare it to say 10 and 4. Well, if I reduce this ratio, I would get 5 to 2. The question is, are these equal? No, these are not equivalent ratios. This would be like in math class, you telling your instructor that 2 over 5 is the same as 5 over 2. No, 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 not the same. Okay, so the order of your ratios do matter. Now, what do I want to do for the finale? Okay. Oh, okay, this is good. Then we get into proportions. I think I'll save proportions for tomorrow. Why don't you guys, this will be the end, halas, like these classes are quick. Why don't you guys try questions 3, 5, and 6? Don't worry about the units. We're not dealing with units, okay? So why don't you try 3, 5, and 6, and then we're done. I'll go over the answers, halas. So take 3 or 4 minutes and try this, and I will be back at like 1:40. If you finish, you can relax. You can put your answers in the chat. If you have your notes, you can try a few more. I might do question 7 for you before you leave. All right, good luck. I'll be back in 4 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes. All right. Lots of answers in here. People are already at 6. Let's check it out. Let's look at your answers, and then I'm pretty much done. I think I'll do number 7 for you. How do they want us to do 7? What are they even asking for number 7? I think 7 and 8 are confused. I don't know what they really want you to do. But anyways, we'll come back to that. Okay. So it says write each ratio in lowest terms. Most of you have done this. 15 hours. We don't care about the units for now to 3 days. I'm going to divide them by 3. So 5 to 1. I don't know what this means because obviously 15 hours do not equal 3 days, but it could be something else. 3 pounds to 40 ounces. I don't think we can do anything there. Nope. 3 pounds to 40 ounces, done. Cannot be reduced. You can try it on your Casio calculator if you have one. Nothing I can do. 12 pints to 4 quarts. This is a ratio that makes sense to me. We know that there are 2 pints in every 1 quart. So my answer should be 2 to 1. I'm going to divide both of these by, you could try 2, but you'll notice you're going to be able to do 2 twice. So, well, let me show you. If I pick 2, I would get 6 to 2. I could also go another 2 to get 3. Sorry, why is this being like this? 3 to 1. My computer is being weird. So my GCF here is 4. You could pick 4. 3 to 1, not 2 to 1. I thought it was 2 pints in a quart. Anyways, we're not going to worry about the numbers being true. We're just practicing. 1500 to 3. The only number I can think of trying is 3. That's the only number that I think will work here, or I know will work, and we would get 500 to 1. Let me check the chat before I move on. No. So Asma is asking in question 2, do you have to convert the units? No, you do not have to convert the units unless I ask you. Even if the solutions say something different, I don't think they do. Let me just check. Okay, I guess. Well, the solutions want you to convert it first. It doesn't mention to do that, but I'm going to leave it like it is. I don't think we need to do the conversions first. I know the answer key says to, but it's not specifically telling you to do this. Unless I tell you specifically to convert to the same unit, you don't have to. It's just asking us to reduce. We can do the conversions after. Okay, that's like a whole other topic. So I'll leave it like this. All right. Number 5, number 6. So number 5, 99 to 121 to 363. And then 6 is 21 to 42 to 105. Okay, so I want to convert these. Now, this is tough because I can't use my fractions on my calculator. I'm not really, what do I do? I'm going to have to kind of try numbers that I think will work. For number 5, I got a good feeling about the number 3. So I'm going to try to divide by number 3. Before I do that, I am going to answer Asma's question. I do want to kind of explain up here. So if you look at the answer key up here, they convert them to the same number and then reduce. You are more than welcome to do that. And actually, I can show you how that works at the end. You can also reduce and then convert them. But the question doesn't ask you to do that. So Asma asks in the chat there, if you guys got this question in a test, like, what do you do? Well, if I just say write the ratio in lowest terms, do that. But if I mention to convert it, do the conversion. And guys, I'll come back. I'll show you how to do the conversion with this in a second, okay? I didn't mean to confuse anybody, but to me, this isn't a very clear question. It just says reduce the ratios. It doesn't say anything about converting. So to answer your question, if I don't ask you to convert, don't convert. And I'll show you the conversions in a second. I'll come back to these. Let's get 5 and 6 done. 5 and 6. I'm going to try 3. There is a better number. I think 11 will work, but I'm going to try 3 and explain my reasoning because 3 isn't going to work. So 99 divided by 3, that's 33. That's great. 121 divided by 3 doesn't work. So 3 is not working for me. So let's try another number. These are odd numbers. So 2 isn't going to work. 6 isn't going to work. Like I'm going to try numbers until I get all of this to work. We could try 7, but you'll notice 99 divided by 7 doesn't work. Okay, so what's my next odd number? Well, I already tried 3, so 9 isn't going to work. Let's try 11. And guys, there's no simple way to do this. You just have to find a number that goes into all of these numbers. Start small if you're not sure. Try 3, try 7, try 9. The only one that works here is 11. So 99 divided by 11 is going to give me 9. 121 divided by 11 is going to give me 11. And 363 divided by 11 is 33. Done. That was a hard one. Well, sorry, it's not hard. It's, you know, trying to come up with that greatest common factor. And again, some of you are like, for me, it's guess and check. Try 3, try 7, try something else. I know 2 isn't going to work because these are odd numbers. If you have odd numbers, don't waste your time with 2, 4, 6, or 8. All right, number 6 looks a little bit more reasonable. I don't know. Let's start with 3. I like to start with 2 or 3. So let's try 3. 21 divided by 3, that works. That's a 7. 42 divided by 3, that's 14. That works. What about 105? It works. So we have 7. We have 42 divided by 3 is 14. We have 35. I'm not done yet, though. I can see another number that's going to go in here, and I got a feeling someone's going to say in the chat, yeah. So Abdullah says, why don't we divide by 21 at the beginning? Well, let me explain where that came from. I'm not done here. This isn't finished. I can still put another number in here. I'm going to try 7. So 1, 2, 5. There we go. Now, Abdullah in the chat said, why don't you divide it all by 21? Well, that's where the GCF comes in. The greatest common factor here is 3 times 7. It's 21. Guys, do whatever you want. Do whatever feels comfortable for you. I'm the type of person, I know I'm your math instructor, but I like to do this in little pieces. So I try 3, I try 5, I try 6. 3 worked. Now that I got here, I'll put little squigglies around it. I don't think I'm done, right? Like 7 could go into these numbers. So I try it again and I get my answer. Okay, guys, I'm going a little longer than I thought. I'm going to do these tomorrow. There's something in here that's we haven't really talked about yet, but let's look at this question again. Okay, let's look at this one again. Now, my answers are fine. Like everything is fine, but in your answer key, it's saying to convert them to the same unit. So I'm going to change this question. Write each ratio in lowest terms in the same unit. Okay. If I asked you something like this on a test, I want you to convert them to the same unit. I could go to days or hours. I could go to pints or quarts, whatever I wanted, and then I will reduce it. So, for example, I know that I want to convert this to, let's convert this to hours. Okay, I know that 3 days, or like you could just say 1 day is 24 hours. So this could be converted to 15 hours to 72 hours. Where did I get that? 1 day is 24 hours. 3 days is multiplied by 24 to give me 72 hours. Now I can reduce this fraction and I would get 5 to 24. Or 5 over 24. Let's do another one just to make sure you guys are okay on this. Well, I got 3 pounds and 40 ounces. Let's take the pounds and turn them into ounces. So I know that 1 pound is 16 ounces. So 3 pounds is 48 ounces to 40 ounces. Okay, so let's reduce that. 48 reduced by 40. I'm going to divide them both by 8. I get 6 to 8 ounces. Or you could write this as 6 over 8, whatever you wanted. Is that okay? Well, let's do one more. Why not? One more. And then maybe you guys can try this one on your own. And we can look at this tomorrow if anybody has more questions. Pints to quarts. Well, let's change the quarts into pints. So I know that there are 2 pints in 1 quart. So this becomes 12 pints. Sorry. I'm not doing anything with the pints. The quarts I can change to pints by multiplying by 2. So this is 8 pints. And I reduce, this is a nice one. This is a normal one. I can reduce that to become smaller, 3 to 2 or 3 over 2. Same thing. All right, how's everybody doing? We're out of time, basically. There's only 8 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions about this? If you guys don't, we're finished. We can try number 4 tomorrow, and we'll do 7 and 8 tomorrow. If any of you guys are confused, maybe tomorrow I can fix this up, or like we can try number 4 again. But I'll leave it at that. So I'm going to stop recording. Thank you so much for your attention today.